Today's plan is to finish up PowerPoint 3 and do a little practice animation. They have some animation here, but we're going to do more just to get a really good handle on that. And remember, in this class, you can go wild with animation on a regular presentation. You don't want to cause your audience to be annoyed or distracted. There are some preachers that actually, I think they had their daughter help them do their PowerPoint or their secretary, and they were really loving animations. It was getting a little bit distracting, and that speaker backed off a little bit on the animations. But he was having fun with it. And when you're talking to college students or others that you'd like to humor a little bit, you might throw in more animations than other times. When you're talking to the conservative board, you probably don't want to have crazy animations. Unless you know that they're really sleepy. You got to wake them up. So PowerPoint 3, we got as far as bringing in those slides from the other presentation. Remember, I could have just copied and pasted one presentation to another. That's the way I usually do it, is I go to the presentation and say, yeah, I like that slide. Control-C copy, switch over to my presentation, Control-V paste. But you do have the new slide, reuse slides, that requires you to go browse to those other presentations, and then its slides appear over here. Another way to do it, I usually don't use that, but their reuse slides could be kind of handy. So we have these slides, and we'd like to now have them available in a little better format. This picture doesn't match our theme at all, so we'll be changing that picture and bringing in something else. So let's go up to where we're doing that. We're creating format in WordArt. So we've added slides. The order that we want to have is, this is going to be our second slide. Drag that up for the second slide. We're going to delete that first picture, and we're going to insert a picture and then apply some cool effects to it. So go back to the first slide. Let's get rid of this one. Delete. And bring in a insert image or picture, insert picture from online. We did have a picture they supplied, but I'm going to give you the option of choosing your own picture. Since we're giving a presentation about sleep and peaceful sleep and lighting, I'm going to choose peaceful sleep. Peaceful sleep as a topic to search for, and then pick from any of these pictures that show up as my peaceful sleep representation, intro to my audience of this wonderful, exciting topic. You can pick the peaceful sleep picture that you would like. This kind of cute little kid. Oh, this guy kind of interesting. Whatever peaceful sleep picture you like. I think I'm gonna pick, that's a cute one. I'm gonna pick this little guy up here. There you go. I'm gonna pick this little guy. Insert. And let's see, I think I'm gonna have him face to the right. So I'm gonna flip that picture, rotate left and right. And he is, I'd like to focus on that cute little head of the kiddo there. And I don't need all this extra background around. So one of the first things I'm going to do is something you'll often do is crop away the extra from this picture. I'm going to crop away the bottom of that and maybe some of the right. So I have a lot of space here. Here I'm not going to crop away so much. So how do we crop it? Well, while it's selected, I have the little cropping tool right up here. Click on the cropping tool, and the cropping handles appear. Be careful not to grab the double arrow. That's not your cropping handle. You have to come in a tiny bit and make sure you have the square little cursor. And now, oh, I accidentally grabbed the white one. There we go. Now I'm cropping to that. I let go. And see how it's cropped to that. This he's going to throw away, and I'm going to grab this corner and crop to that. I think I'll keep his arms in there, but just have a less of a line underneath. Once you click off of it or hit enter, oh, I guess I have to click off it, you're done cropping, and now he treats that picture as though that were your picture. If I said, wait a minute, I didn't like that cropping, I could go reset, reset, I thought I could, reset picture and size, it takes me back to the original, unflipped. So, flip, crop, and you don't have to crop exactly like me, and you don't even have to have the same picture as me. Click off of it, and now it's cropped. Now let's apply some cool picture effects to that, and depending on the effect, we may actually be resizing. Where do I find picture effects? Well, way over here I have artistic effects, I have color effects, I have color corrections. Not going to play with the remove background. Let's do color correction first, and then we'll try some of these other effects. Color correction, it looks pretty good right now. Well, let's see if it would look a little better if I gave it maybe a little darker, maybe a little brighter. I think I might just go slightly brighter. And depending on what picture you chose, you might choose a different color effect. I'm trying to get it to match my background. So I'm going to go just slightly lighter, just so it matches my background a little better. Yet there's more. Underneath the color, I can colorize it a little warmer, a little cooler or warmer color tone. Maybe make it just slightly warmer. I can saturate the color a little bit more, although it appears that that's fairly saturated. I could unsaturate it a little bit if I want to kind of make it closer to black and white. Think of saturation as how thick the paint is versus no color in black and white. And I can even recolor it, make it look like a little old-fashioned, turn it into something that's a little scary looking, or colorize it completely different manner. I think I'll leave it as is. Remember the transparent color? That works best with cartoons. If you do transparent with images, since there is variation in whatever color you happen to click on, it's going to act really strange and give you strange transparency. Okay, so now we've done color corrections. Let's now choose what else is available here under artistic effects. There's lots of arts effects you could apply. In the book they want to apply, I think this is the one they apply, no, they apply the cross etching. I'm not sure I like the cross etching, especially on the face there. I'm going to try something, ooh, that's a little scary. That's some interest. Ooh, I'm not sure, the bubble wrap, don't want to do that. The texture, I kind of like the texture for that particular picture. Ooh, scary. I think I'll do the texture for mine. I'll let you pick whatever color effect you like, and of course you can go crazy. If you want to make it look scary, you're fine, as long as you know how to do a color effect. That one's kind of a cool one too. I'm going to go with, yeah, maybe I'll try that one because I did texture last time. I'm going to go with this one and see now what other options I have. Remember, underneath your effects, under artistic effects, I can always go to my effects options down here. And in my effect options, I can adjust that particular effect, the size of the texture adjustment or the transparency of it. You always have your extra options that you can completely customize your effect. So I can choose the effect, and that effect will have different options to go with it. The texture effect, I can adjust the scaling of the texture and the transparency of the texture. So every artistic effect available with options. It looks like transparency and scaling are my main options I have with them. So if you like it, but if it's too intense, you can say, okay, give me the texture, or the blur, or the watercolor, but let me adjust how much of it I get. Change the transparency of that, or change the brush size. So see how this one has a brush size option for watercolor. I don't think I would like the watercolor. So I'll go back to my, what was the one I had? Texturizer, or the paintbrush. I kind of like the paintbrush. Okay, so now we know how to apply artistic effects. We can apply transparency, although it doesn't fit in this case. There's nothing behind it. Let's apply not only some color effects, let's apply some picture effects by first choosing a picture style. So picture effects over here. The actual layout or the framing of it, I have several built-in standard ways to frame a picture. And I want to choose this lower left bevel perspective. Kind of like the effect of that. But wait, I'm not done. I have bevel perspective. Let's add more by going to more picture effects. And I can choose additional effects besides the bevel effects. Let's throw in a little bit of a shadow. Let's throw in a little bit of reflection. How about a little bit of glow? And soft edges. I'm not sure soft edges is going to do a lot for me because the other effect is overriding that. Let's try a bevel. See what a bevel does. Different styles of bevel, I suppose. They're just along the edge of that. 3D rotation. Oh, it's already got a decent 3D rotation. And remember, I can always go down to the options on any of these effects and have full control over the different options. I'm going to say I'll go to the shadow and go down all the way to shadow options. This pops up and gives me all my finely tuned capabilities of my shadow. How much blur I get, what angle it's going to, how far away from my object the shadow is, how intense it is in the transparency, and how blurred it is. And notice in the format picture, all those other effects are hiding in here too. I can go to all the built-in presets or manually adjust any of those options myself. So as you get more advanced and you want to fine-tune your graphics, the format picture, very helpful. Now because the reflection effect has enlarged my picture a little bit, I'm going to move it up a bit and also shrink it just a tiny bit. Oh, that's a little weird how when we resize it you get that, but then when you let go you see the effects come back. I'm going to put it up there because I need a title now for my presentation. Got an interesting graphic to come in. Let's go now and add a title. And how we're going to add a title is not just the plain old text box with some font. There is a slightly better artistic object that you can bring in. You don't see it here, but if you go to Insert, you see it over here, the word art. Word art gives me text boxes with style. Word art. Let's choose a word art style that I can always come back and change. Style of the second row, middle. Now it pops a word art right in the middle of my picture. We'll replace the text and then we'll move it. The text that it's going to have in there is "Sleep well tonight." So it's like a text box with special font applied to it. I'm going to move it here so it's visible to my audience. But now let's see what we can do with word art. It's treated as a text box with shape effects and fill, but here under word art I can apply a different fill for my text. I can choose a particular color. I can choose an outline of the burgundy outline that we had on the pie chart. I can adjust the thickness of that outline. And now, more excitingly, I can go to a text effects and choose a 3D transform and apply a cool transform to my text. And I'm going to choose the wave down transform. But while I'm there, I can see all these other transforms available to me. But I'm going to stop with the wave down. Notice with the wave down, I'm going to increase the height a little bit of that. I have two little yellow adjusters. One adjusts the angle of my wave. The other adjusts the thickness of the wave, or the curviness of it. There's curve as much as possible. There's no curve. Just by grabbing that little adjustment handle. The angle of my tilt of the text, adjusted with that little adjustment handle. So adjust it however you like. And all these other effects are available to us in WordArt. I can apply some reflection to it, some glow to my text. I can apply a bevel to my text and a 3D rotation to it as well. Some of these same things basically have the same effect over here under shape effects. But because it's WordArt, there's text effects shows up as well. So now you know WordArt and what it can do for us. All the options you have up here. Suppose now, after I spend all my time getting this really nice and exciting, I go to my next slide now, and boy, is that boring. This was so much more exciting. Can I make this look like that? Well, yes, you can. I can click here, click on this text box, and I can go to Insert, and because that's selected, I can just choose WordArt, and that becomes, oh, didn't do that. Try that again. Maybe I have to have the text selected. Let's try that. Let's do a Control A. Now let's shape format. Now let's turn that to WordArt. There we go. Now that becomes WordArt. So if it's selected once, yeah, if I just change my text format, shape format, there's the WordArt style shows up for me. So I didn't go do Insert WordArt. I had the shape selected. Here, this is essentially lets me convert it to WordArt. As soon as I choose a WordArt style, now this box is WordArt, and I can apply all these text effects to it. I'm going to do the wave down just like before, just to be consistent in my style. So WordArt gives a little pizzazz to your text. It's not that hard to insert. Made the wave down shape. Change the next one to WordArt. We adjusted our outline. Shows the shape. And now we would like to do some animation on this slide. Before we're going to eventually get an image that goes in here. Actually, it's going to be a video image. We're going to be putting a video clip here. But first, we would like to animate the slide. Right now, when we present it, there's my slide. And suppose I'm talking through these points. Rather than have my audience see all the points all at once, I would like them to show up one at a time. And just to add a little bit of animation eye candy, I'm going to have this appear on a click rather than immediately when I transition to my slide. So I want to animate. First of all, let's animate this WordArt. So I have it selected. I want to animate that in some way. I go to my Animations tab, and here I have my choices of animation. And let's again get a good handle on animations. The green means it's going to be invisible until that happens, until the green entrance animation happens. If it is visible on my screen and I want something extra to happen to it, I can add an emphasis animation. And if I want something to go away, I can have an exit animation. And there are motion path animations as well. We're going to practice with some of those towards the end here. Okay, so for this one, we want to have a fade in. Let's do a fly in animation. With each animation we choose, the effect options come up for that animation. Where this one, I can fly in from the, how about fly in from the top? If I decide, wait a minute, I don't want fly in, I want float in. I click float in, the effect option goes to fly in from the bottom. I want to go change that, and notice the float in can only go straight up or straight down. It's not that different from a fly in. So I'd say fly in gives me a lot more options. Perhaps the float, I don't see the float doing much different than fly in, but we'll stick with the float then since I changed it to it. Now let's look at the options I have for float in. And the same I have for any animation. I can choose how long it takes to animate. Over here in the duration, let's increase that duration to 2. I do want it to start, wait for me to click to start. And now let's play to see the effect of that. Play the slide. See how it's not there until the entrance animation. I click anywhere and I get that entrance animation. And there's the float in. So float in and fly in. If I do the fly in, let's see how much different that would be. Play that. Fly in. Go back to float in. Play that. It's about the same. I guess the float in is a fade and then move, where fly in is no fading, but just flying in from the very edge. And since I changed it, it went back to the default duration. So there's that float in duration and animation. Remember, I can always go to my extra options here under this little add additional options, and here's where I can control the sound, if I want a sound to play like a breeze. What happens after it animates. Here I can adjust my duration as well, and whether or not it rewinds or plays or repeats multiple times. I don't think I want this one repeating. Now I have a sound applied to it just for fun. As we get more animations, it's going to be useful to turn on the animation pane, and I will see my animations appear over here. I can turn on or off the animation pane as I get more complex animations, just to see, is it doing what I think it should be doing. Now it's time. We would like these points of our talk here on this page to be animating in as I cover the point. So let's add an animation to this. This time we'll choose, let's do something wild and crazy. Let's add an entrance animation of swivel. Kind of annoying. I don't like swivel that much. It's giving me the preview of it. The duration looks like it's 2 seconds. I'm going to change that to a shorter duration. Notice by default I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the animation order. I can change my effect options to come in all at once, and notice what happens to my numbers. The numbers all show the same number, showing to me here that they're all happening at once. In the animation pane, I can tell that by them all being grouped together underneath the number 2. If I want to go back to have them appear by paragraph, the animation goes back to, hey, they're one at a time waiting for a click. Now they show up differently here, and my numbers go back to 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's adjust my effect options here. Going down into my additional options, let's have that dim to another color after I've covered that particular point and gone to the next one. So let's have it dim to a very light gray. And now let's see what, or that's a light green. Let's see how that works now. Click OK. And now let's play the slide. Here's the title with the sound. Click, here's my first point, swivels in. Now watch what happens when I go to the next point. It swivels in. This immediately goes to a very light. So my audience isn't focusing on previous points, but on the point I'm on. Now that's barely readable on the screen to me. On my screen it's very readable. I might change my dim color by going back to my options. I'm going to change my after animation to be not quite as faded away. I'll choose another color of slightly darker. Let's see, I can come over here and choose a slightly darker color. Yeah.
So mine's for the swivel, I think it's swivel. Mine's is like disappearing. It's not like appearing, but it's like showing itself, but disappearing.
Oh, let's come take a look. I can always go back and adjust its options. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, because I was just, she'll do that.
Oh, okay. So go back to your animations pane. Go to animations. Show the animation pane. And drag. Let's see. Do you have? Oh, you have. There. You applied an exit. You applied a red exit. That's why they're disappearing. Change that to an entrance. Change that to an entrance instead of an exit. And I don't know if you can change it except by deleting that. And go ahead and do the remove that animation. Remove. And now go back to that paragraph and make it a green animation. Add a change.
Oh, on this.
Yeah, we're entering an entrance animation. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, the color of the animation is critical. These we want to enter, and I change my dim to not be completely dimmed. And now if I play it, I will see that comes in. Next one, it doesn't swivel to be invisible. It's still slightly visible. Okay, now we've adjusted that. Let's see, I think that's all they want for this slide. Remember, you can adjust how your paragraphs appear. The direction of the animation. This one here, the animation there was a swivel entrance. The options I have for that are basically all at once or not. Remember, I can still adjust my duration. I'm going to make a super fast swivel or a super slow swivel. Generally, it makes no sense to have a delay after you click. Now it's time to bring in a video. It used to be a lot harder. Older versions of PowerPoint, if you wanted to play video, you had to go open a separate application. It's made it a little easier to bring in videos, but sadly there are not online videos available. I have to do, if I want to insert a video into this placeholder, I click on Insert Video, and my only choice is to go find a video on my drive. This video is over here in your Module 3 PowerPoint that we downloaded for the data files. It's over here. It's over there in Module 3, and I have downloaded, and it's the PowerPoint Mod 03 data. Down in the module folder, there's a video clip they'd like you to use called Support PPT3 Awake. There's a whole nother tutorial on how to get videos from YouTube clips, from your camera. I think from your camera, generally they're in MP4 format. PowerPoint will bring in these various video file formats, so it's quite a list of possible formats for you. But we have one in MP4, which is a very common format. Just double click on that, and because I had the placeholder, it fits it to my placeholder. I could also always go to Insert Media over here without a placeholder. Oh, and there they do offer online videos. I like that. So the placeholder doesn't know how to go get online videos, but you can over here. I'll keep that in mind. I'm not going to go look for one now since I have this guy. Now, that's horribly dark for my slide. So the first thing I want to do is some color correction. And just like an image, I can go to my video format tab while it's selected and do a color correction immediately. We want to make that one as bright as possible, and even then it seems I could make it brighter. Let's see if I can make it even brighter by going down to corrections options, and let me adjust my brightness even more. I'm going to adjust it up to about 80%, 75%, and my contrast, I'm going to increase that a little bit. That's a little bit too much contrast, but back off just a tiny bit. There we go. I like that. Let's see how it plays. It even lets me play it while I'm editing in edit mode. Most of the time, well, a lot of the time, you don't see the actual animation until you play your presentation. Here I can play. See, there's kind of a long delay before he finally wakes up and pushes the snooze button. And then let him go back to sleep, and then picture plays a little bit more. So I've adjusted the contrast and brightness, custom. I can close that anytime I want to. Let's adjust the actual point in the video where I play it. I can go back to the playback section here of my video. Now this is going to be pretty important for you. The playback section gives you a lot of options that a lot of people don't know about. Let's first of all look at how is this going to play. Is it going to wait for me to play, or do I want this video to play as soon as this slide appears? Let's choose to have it play automatically. Now I don't see a delay to give me a delay when it plays. I just say play automatically. Maybe there's something in there somewhere. Now if it had video attached to it, I could say, well, don't give me any sound. Let's mute any sound that might have been going with that video. And I have even more options. I go to trim the video. In the trimming of the video, I can adjust when the video is going to start. Instead of having this long delay between slowly panning, let's have him wake up a little sooner. And so I can change my start point to be about there, about 5 seconds in. And same thing for the end. Rather than have it sit there, let's have it end right about there, right after he puts his head down and closes his eyes. So I can trim the start and end of my video. If I knew exactly the time point, I could type it in, either start or end. Now I click OK. I won't see that effect until I actually play the video. But let's add a little bit of a fade in and see the effect of that. How about a 1 second fade in, and we'll do a 1 second fade out. So fade in, trimmed, start automatically. Play to see the effect of that. Remember, everything else is waiting for me to click. This is starting automatically. Oh, it's starting automatically after the last animation. So click, entrance, click through my points, finally get to my 4th point, and then the video plays. So automatically means it plays as soon as the last animation before it is done. See, it didn't wait for a click to play the video. Oh, so I can come back to that video now. I have that selected, my playback. Automatically, I learned how that works. If you ever look at your animations at this point, it will look a little crazy if you want to see your animation pane. You've got this video sitting here with some kind of animations applied to it. I can see there that it's going to wait till everything else is done. This is my clue that this happens after that last thing there and my point has been clicked. So this is where the animation pane is kind of handy. It helps you understand how things are happening in the presentation. So there's our animation for that. Animate these things. Then don't wait for a click. This happens the same time as this. And another way to see that, even without the animation pane, is I see a number 5 on that and I also see a number 5 on that. The lightning bolt means this happens as soon as number 5 happens. Automatically this happens. Graphically though, we would like to apply the same effect that we had to the little baby. Let's apply the bevel effect to the video. I have it selected. I can go to the video format and I can apply the same style to videos that I can apply to pictures. And I'm going to apply the 3D bevel perspective with similar border effects, or sorry, video effects of a shadow, slight shadow, a video effect of a reflection, the video effect of a glow, video effect of a soft edge. The soft edges, I don't see much effect of that. Let's try bevel. Well, it already has a bevel in the 3D. Let's try 3D rotation. I can modify the 3D rotation or leave it as is, or go to custom rotation. I think I'm happy with the 3D rotation that came with the built-in. Remember, anything I do here with that special video effects, if I decide to come back here and choose something different, those effects that I had chosen may disappear. So see, I come back to here, see how the reflection is gone now? Because I went back, I can keep the reflection there by not going back and applying another built-in style. And it plays with the 3D effect being applied. Let's see that, and keep in mind now that although he's waiting for the other effects to happen, I can always show the controls when I hover over it and play it even without the effect happening, or waiting for the effect to happen at the same time as this one. And as I'm playing, I can always click again and it'll jump ahead to the next animation. So let's see, I have that one. Now let's see in the playback. I can hide the controls if it's not playing. Let's see what happens if I hide the controls. What happens now when I play my slide? The video isn't even showing until everything comes in, and then it pops up. I'd say that's kind of annoying, so I don't think I want to hide the controls while playing. Well, not playing. It looks like hide the controls also means hide the video. So there we have a video coming in, playing that nicely. We have our sleep stages. I don't think we want to animate our pie chart. We could if we wanted to. Let's at least give the same wave effect to this title. So I select that. I can, under format of, with that part selected, let's see if I can change the format of that to be the similar word art. Although it doesn't change the font, I can apply the same, oh, look at that. I can't apply other variations that were available in plain word art. So apparently because it's a title, it won't let me do more fancy word art effects, but I can apply the glow, and I can apply some reflection or shadow. But I can't apply the wave down because it's part of this title of a pie chart. Let's see what happens if I adjust the size of that. Will it increase my font size? No, it doesn't let me change the size. It does let me move that around. The font size, let's try Control Shift greater than. Yes, I can do the Control Shift greater than with it selected to increase the font size. But I can't apply any waves to that. All right, now that you have done what's in the book, we're going to do a little extra practice of animation. Just to give you extra skills here, we're going to insert an extra slide at the very end. Time to do some practice animation. So insert, oh sorry, yeah, we're home tab, new slide, title only. And I'm going to put in the title, practice animation. first things I'm going to do, have something to animate. So let's throw in some shapes that we're going to animate. Let's throw in a triangle. Let's bring in a square. And how about a star? Three shapes. Without any animation, when I play the slide, there the shapes are sitting there. I would like these shapes to all appear at the same time. Well, I can select a shape. I know that I can apply an animation of a fade, but I want to apply it to the same rather than one by one after another. If I select them all before applying the animation will apply to all three at once. So I select all three and then I choose a entrance animation. Let's choose a bounce. With the bounce animation, there are no effect options available to you. Although I can change my duration of the bounce or the delay. Notice this, the start doesn't show on click. Let's see what happens when I play this. I'm assuming it is waiting for a click. I click and now they all bounce in. So entrance animation applied to all three objects. I see them all having number 1 on them. That indicates to me, yes, they're all happening at the same time. The animation pane shows they're grouped together, and green because it's an entrance. Now, let's add an additional animation to the triangle. I can come click on the triangle. I want to add an additional one. That means I do not want to change this. It's bouncing in already with the others. I want to come over here and do the add. If you already have an animation, don't change it. If you want to add, click the add. And this is something easily missed. I want to add an additional animation to the triangle. Now it has already appeared. Let's see what happens if I try to add another entrance animation, like a swivel. It already enters. What's going to happen? Let's see what happens if I have 2 entrance animations applied. 2 entrance animations don't make sense. Let's see the effect of that. They all 3 enter. I click again and the triangle kind of re-enters. So keep that in mind. If it's already entered, another entrance animation, you can add it, but it's already there, so it's more like an emphasis. So let's add an emphasis animation to the square one now. Click on the square. Again, we don't want to change its entrance. Let's do an add. And since we know it's already entered, let's add an emphasis animation. That makes more sense. And let's have him do a, how about he's a square? Let's have him teeter when I went for that next additional animation. I click teeter. No effect options with teeter. I do have duration and delay. Let's see how if I can make it teeter a little longer. Let's go to animation options. I can go here for animation options or here in the animation pane for the effect options. And here I can adjust playing a sound. Well, I guess we could do a sound, maybe a little click sound. And I can change its timing to have no delay, but let's have it last a little longer. And let's have it go longer by repeating 4 times. And then click OK. It played that sound for me. It shows me in the animation pane that it's going to be happening that long. The total time will be 8 seconds because the duration is 2 seconds for each time through. Let's decrease that duration time. And now let's play it by playing my slide. Click for those to enter. Click. The triangle does a re-enter. The next click should teeter the rectangle, repeating 4 times. And now the next click will take me to the end of the presentation. Okay, that's all pretty nice. Let's add a special animation to our star. Your instructions will be animate or add an animation to the star, so whenever I click on it, it will do a color pulse. So remember, I want to now add an animation to the star, because he already has the entrance. Add an animation. Let's make it a color pulse on the star. Right now, it's just in a sequence. It's going to wait for the next click. But the instruction said, have the star do the color pulse whenever I click on it. So you have a presentation, you have a particular point you want to emphasize. Whenever you click on something in the image, it will teeter or emphasize. This is done with the trigger. Change the trigger to not be on click like that, but to be on click of the star. So trigger on click of, and notice now that emphasize animation jumps down to a separate section called a trigger. Let me do that again because it takes a while. I have the animation. I've added an emphasis animation. I select that emphasis animation either by clicking on the number 4 there or clicking on it in the animation pane. And I change it to trigger on click of the star. Trigger on click of. Now let's see the effect of that. Playing the slide. Enter, enter, teeter. Anytime, even before I enter, or after they entered, once I hover over the star, it does its color pulse. And I could have it play its sound. I could always modify its animation options with the timing and or the effect. I could have it play a sound. And for the sound, I can make a little bit of a laser sound. Anytime it clicks on, it'll have that sound. One last animation. Let us have the star add an animation. Oh, I have to add it to the star. Let's click on the star. Add an animation to the star of the motion path. And the most flexible motion path would be your custom path. Custom path. And now I can click and draw a path, typically at the start of where my star is, so I'll know that that's the path of my star. And I can draw a path anywhere around my screen and have it end. Whenever I do a double click, it will end there. And now that will be the motion path for my star. I could set that to happen. Well, now it's set up in a sequence. I could have it happen the same time that my rectangle teeters. And to do that, I change it from on click to with previous. So now my star will be happening, the effect on the star will be happening at the same time as the rectangle teeters. I can see that in the animation pane, they're happening together, or I see the number 3 is on both of them. So they're going to happen together. Whatever animation 3 is, whatever animation is happening here is going to happen the same time as this animation because they have the same number 3 in there. Now let's see the effect of that. Entrance animation of all 3 together. Waiting for a click of anywhere to get the triangle to enter, but notice I hover over the star. That will do the color pulse. Click somewhere else, causes that next animation. Next animation should be star flying and rectangle teetering at the same time. And any time I hover over the star, no matter where it is on my slide, it will do that effect animation. With all of this, you can do very creative things in your presentation as you have multiple points flying in. A standard way, this more conservative way, is you have your bullet points animating in. That's pretty common, almost expected for professional animations. You animate your bullets. All these other animations, keep in mind, you can go crazy with them. Save them for when you want to make a particular point, but you can have a lot of graphical capabilities now. That is now ready to upload. Save that. You can upload it then for your assignment. And you're done for today. Have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend. Enjoy the cooler weather.